In Mrs., Sanya Malhotra's portrayal of Richa offers a raw and unfiltered look into the silent struggles women face when their aspirations are stifled by societal expectations. Her journey is more than just a personal transformation. It is a reflection of the millions of Indian women whose mental health is shaped by deeply entrenched cultural norms. It is about the erosion of identity, the weight of unspoken burdens, and ultimately, the fight to reclaim oneself in a world that demands submission. The slow erosion of self. Richa enters her marriage with the vibrant spirit of a trained dancer, hopeful that she can continue pursuing her passion. But soon, the invisible chains of domestic expectations tighten around her. The everyday grind of managing a household, serving others, and suppressing her own desires begins to weigh her down. She is expected to sacrifice, to adjust, to mold herself into the image of the ideal wife. Her struggles mirror those of countless Indian women who grow up with dreams only to watch them fade under the weight of duty. The notion that a woman's primary role is to nurture, serve, and maintain harmony, often at the cost of her personal growth, creates an environment where mental health issues fester unnoticed. Women often internalize guilt when prioritizing their own needs. They are taught to embrace suffering as a virtue, to equate resilience with silent endurance. The double burden of unpaid domestic labor and professional work amplifies this stress. Studies show that Indian women suffer from higher rates of anxiety and depression than men, yet their struggles are often dismissed as trivial or just part of life. Richa's initial silence, her hesitation to express dissatisfaction, reflects this ingrained conditioning that teaches women to swallow their pain rather than confront it. Learning through society, Richa's struggle is not just about external limitations, it is about the psychological impact of learned helplessness. Over time, women who repeatedly face rejection, control, and dismissal begin to believe that their actions have no real impact. Many other women in the story have shown to have internalized the idea that speaking up or asserting themselves will only lead to conflict, making resistance seem futile. Social learning plays a crucial role in reinforcing these beliefs. From childhood, girls in Indian society are subtly taught to seek validation through compliance. Through direct experiences and observation, they absorb the expectations placed upon them, watching mothers, aunts, and grandmothers sacrifice their ambitions in favor of family harmony. Over time, Diwakar is seen asking Richa to do his personal chores for him, following closely on his father's footsteps, something he had seen as a norm in the household for years. The stigma that keeps women silent. As Richa battles her growing frustration and isolation, she faces a dilemma that countless women experience. Should she speak up or endure silently? Admitting distress can lead to labels: weak, unstable, ungrateful. The fear of judgment, of being misunderstood or invalidated, pushes many into silent suffering. For women in toxic or abusive environments, the situation is even worse. The National Family Health Survey, NFHS 5, reveals that nearly 30% of married Indian women experience domestic violence, yet few report it. The reasons are deeply rooted in cultural expectations. Marriage is seen as sacred, and a woman leaving or speaking out is often met with more condemnation than the perpetrator of violence. The burden of maintaining family honor falls disproportionately on women, forcing them to endure mental and physical anguish in silence. Richa's frustration is not just about lost opportunities. It is about the loneliness of feeling unseen, the gaslighting that makes her question whether her unhappiness is even valid. Women like Richa often asked, "What more do you want?" as if their pain is imaginary, as if their lives filled with stability and routine should be enough. This deep-rooted dismissal of women's emotions leaves them struggling with feelings of inadequacy, trapped in cycles of self-doubt. The moment of reclamation. But Mrs. is not just a story of struggle, it is one of resistance. Richa's arc is not about external rebellion, but an internal revolution. She slowly begins to recognize that her desires, her dreams, and her emotional well-being are not secondary. Her decision to return to dance is not just about reclaiming a hobby, it is a radical act of self-assertion. In a society that often demands women shrink themselves to fit the roles assigned to them, choosing oneself is an act of defiance. It is a reminder that women should not have to justify their need for joy, for space, for freedom. This moment of reclamation in Mrs. resonates deeply because it is a victory many women are still fighting for. It challenges the narrative that happiness must always be sacrificed at the altar of duty. A larger conversation. Richa's story in Mrs. serves as a catalyst for a larger discussion on women's mental health in India. Systemic change is needed, breaking patriarchal structures, improving access to mental health care, and normalizing conversations about emotional well-being. Women need to unlearn helplessness and reclaim agency over their own lives. Strength should not mean silent endurance. It should mean the freedom to live, to seek joy, and to prioritize mental health without fear. Unlike Richa, every woman deserves the chance to reclaim herself.